what happened is I got banned from Facebook. So apparently, because of information that was shared for the benefit of members of the public, just raising awareness about some of the ingredients that has some of the ingredients in painkillers. I can't pronounce the ingredient, but Chetwayo would have done a feature on Breaking Dawn, and I shared it on our page, and it didn't even make it. Facebook sent an automated message saying that I am banned for like 30 days because I posted something outside of their guidelines. So I don't know what to say, but so the delay was because I was trying to restart the system to make sure that I would have been able to somehow go live, but unfortunately it's not going to happen. So for those of you who are here, thank you. I know there are many who would have been eagerly waiting to join on the Voice of Lupus Foundation's official Facebook page. But I wanted to ask, Chetwayo, do you mind going live on your page? I can give you access to our, to make you a user. Would that work, or how does that work?
I am not sure.
Good
afternoon, everyone.
I'm not sure. We just know to log on to Zoom and just start. Yes. So you know what? We'll share the video after. It's being recorded because there was so much interest in terms of this topic. And without taking up any more time, I will just officially start. So again, I do apologize for the late start. We are almost 20 minutes late due to technical difficulties. But anyway, nonetheless, I am your host, Rihanna Harilal. And of course, we are here today to discuss basically to discuss exercising and also finding ways to move and not let lupus define us, right? So the Voice of Lupus Foundation, of course, it has been a pillar of strength for over 12 years, raising advocacy and awareness, bringing, of course, education. I mean, this initiative, it's called Let's Talk Lupus. This educational initiative is 3 years old and seeks to empower lupus patients throughout Trinidad and Tobago by providing them with knowledge, education, and practical solutions to deal with the brutal impact of living with lupus and to better understand the disease. As you know, I am a lupus warrior, and I am happy to facilitate this session for the benefit of all lupus patients in Trinidad and Tobago, their family members, caregivers, to better understand what living with a chronic autoimmune disease is like. Now, the Voice of Lupus Foundation is a registered NGO fiercely committed to improving the quality of lives for people living with lupus in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, we accomplish this by investing in initiatives, hosting events, programs, and planning campaigns that promote advocacy, awareness, and public education, and support to our patients. Our mission is to give lupus a voice through programs of advocacy, public education, awareness, and caring for and improving the quality of lives for those living with lupus. Our vision is a world where people with lupus can thrive and live full and active lives. Now, we also have some core values, and our core values simply governs the way we operate in terms of what we do and of course what we don't do. So we believe in improving the lives of people who have lupus. We believe that every lupus patient is entitled to the best possible information and other resources about their condition. We believe in advocating and educating the public and the medical fraternity about lupus and its devastating effects. We also believe in bringing people together with lupus and also, to ensure that they are not isolated and they are empowered. And we hope today, definitely today is going to be an empowering session. And of course, we believe in, listening to people who want to talk about their journey with lupus. Now, I wanted to just share a little bit. Now, I met Chetwayo, the Borde, 2 months ago, and there was an interest to, really help the lupus community understand that even though we have some challenges with our mobility, for instance, myself, for those of you who know me personally, know that over the last year, I've been struggling. I've been struggling so much with my mobility, walking, experiencing so many issues where my hip, the left side of my hip is concerned. So we were planning this event, and then life happened, and then we decided, okay, let's card this and let's get this done. So for the last week, I had the privilege of actually starting the aquatic exercise, and I have to say, oh boy, yeah, you don't feel anything in the water, but when you get out of that water, boy, oh boy, oh boy, you feel the workout. It's very comforting. It's very smooth. It feels like, oh boy, you could float, you could prance around and stuff. But I have to say, I want to really say thank you to Chetwayo for allowing me to come into the pool and, see what it's like, because I actually felt very, very hopeless. I mean, I'm overweight. That's one. A big factor is, also just not having a proper hip to stand firmly with, to jump, to exercise, to walk, that sort of thing. And it really gave me some hope in terms of, being able to move and, exercise. Exercise is very important for the joints, what have you. Now, Chetwayo Borde, he's a holistic health and fitness expert. He's also a former fitness lecturer at the Trinidad and Tobago Fitness Academy, where he taught international courses in different fields of fitness. He's certified in some acronyms that I find that I wish I knew what they were, but they sound so cool. I'm talking about being certified in AEA, ISCA, KMP. It sounds so fancy. He also is, he also has this weekly television feature on Breaking Dawn with Stephen Reeds, is that his
Stefan Rees.
Stefan Rees, right? Who is on Synergy every morning, and I have to say that one of your programs got me banned from Facebook, but say what, we shall live with this 30 days ban. And of course, for those of you listening and looking on, feel free. It will be an interactive session. You ask your questions, and there are no limits to the wealth of knowledge that you are going to learn here from Chetwayo. So I'm going to now officially hand him over. Let me just ensure that he has the host rights, co-host. Let's see, make co-host, yes. There we go, because I know you are going to share.
Yes.
So Chetwayo, it's all yours. Take it over from me.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's Hiralal. So it's a pleasure to be on and get to speak with you all with regards to this condition and with regards to aquatic exercise. All right. So as the serial I would have mentioned before, the AEA, which stands for Aquatic Exercise Association, that's one of the courses that I'm certified in, one of the certificates. The other one is ISCA, International Sports International Sports Conditioning Association. And then you have KMG, which stands for Krav Maga Global, which is a self-defense system, right? One of the top self-defense systems in the world. And then you have TTFA, which stands for Trinidad and Tobago Fitness Academy, where I've been a lecturer for about a little over 2 years there, all right? Now, in this field of profession that I am in, a lot of your knowledge must come from being able to research. So research plays a huge factor. So a lot of my knowledge is what you would call autodidact, where I have done a lot of research on my own. So this is why I like to share my screen and share the sources of the information that I am sharing. And one of the reasons for that is that some of the things that I would be sharing might sound strange, right? And it would sound strange But when I show you the sources that I'm sharing the information from, you yourself would be quite shocked that it's from the credible of credible sources. All right. Now, I have never been banned on Facebook, fortunately. Right. I do not know how the sharing of my video caused a ban because I have shared it and I was not banned. But I'm just assuming because I help Facebook make money because I pay for stuff on Facebook that they would not ban me. And that was a theory I've had for quite a while because I've shared a lot of stuff on Facebook and I've saw many people that got banned and I have never been restricted. All right. So I find that to be quite interesting. I didn't even know I was on Facebook blacklist. All right. But I guess I am. All right. So with regards to, yes, I think you wanted to say something there. Rian?
Oh, no, I wasn't going to. I was just putting on the camera to smile because it's a naughty smile. First time I've ever been banned, and I don't know, I feel like a lousy boy.
Yeah, I have never experienced it. I've known a lot of people that message me and say they got banned for posting this and posting, but the stuff that they were posting was not credible stuff. It did not come from legit sites. But all my stuff comes from, PubMed and WHO and all these things. So
yeah, and I know why, and I know why Facebook picked it up like that, because I specifically listed the ingredient and I said specifically to all lupus patients, please listen to this. It's very pertinent for those of you like me who rely heavily on Tylenol to get pain relief. And it was flagged. It was flagged.
Oh, okay. Maybe because of the word Tylenol, but because how I had it, I had acetaminophen, which is the medical term for the drug itself that is used in Tylenol and other pain-killing medication. So, but again, it's still the same thing, isn't it? There's nothing wrong with that. I said that on Breaking Down. I said Tylenol too, but they didn't ban it or flag it. All right, but well, you know how things are today. We're living in a highly censored world today. All right. So with regards to the aquatic exercise though, now many people who are looking on here are individuals that would be suffering with autoimmune disorders, which is basically the body attacking itself. Your own immune system becomes your own enemy. All right. So when it comes to movement, there are some that may be debilitating in your ability to move and might hinder movement. Now, the aquatic environment is a unique environment when it comes to that. It is actually the best environment to be in for exercise. And I'm not just saying that because I'm doing it. I'm saying that because I'm qualified in all the other stuff as well, right? So I know the benefits of the other stuff because I used to teach aerobics on land. I used to do spin and even teach the courses for those things. And I stopped doing those stuff and pursued the aquatic exercise training because I know the benefits of the water. Now, remember, when you're in water, the water gives you that buoyancy, right? So you're now floating in the water. And even if you aren't floating, because you usually use shallow water pools, it reduces your weight. And based on the depth of the water that you're into, if you're up to chest height in water, you're only going to be holding about 15% of your body weight. So think about the reduction of stress on your joints when it comes to impact stress, right? So let's say you're a heavy person. Land-based exercise is going to put extra pressure on your joints. But in the water, you're now holding 15% of your body weight. So that is a great reduction in the stress at the joints. So people that would have rheumatoid arthritis and even osteoarthritis, they get that decompression of the joints. When you get decompression of the joints, it increases your range of motion and flexibility. So while you're in the aquatic environment, your range of motion and flexibility increases while you're there and then. So now you can move about. Now, keep in mind, you might say, well, when I come out of the water, the pressure would be back on. Yes, but while you're in the water, the pressure is off, and therefore you have more circulation taking place. So while you're exercising in the aquatic environment, you're going to have nutrients being better delivered to the area, to the joints, and you're going to have waste material being removed from the joints, from the area. So it's going to benefit you. Now, something else that many people aren't aware of is also the weight or the pressure of the water pushing against the body. And that's what we call hydrostatic pressure, right? So that's the force of the water pressing against your body from every angle, because it's all around you, right? And what that does, it helps with circulation. So even people that suffer with high blood pressure, when they're in the water helps your blood to circulate throughout your body better. It's like wearing compression gear, because people would put on these compression tops and whatnot under their clothing or wear to go to the gym and so forth. That is to aid in circulation, but now you have the water doing that for you, all right? So with that there, you have increased circulation in the body, you have less strain on your heart. So now you can work out and put strain on your heart now because it has less. So the heart, because remember your heart is still a muscle and it needs to be worked out. It needs to get pumping and get some activity to help it going, all right? It's like having a car, but you never cross 40 kilometers when you're driving it. After a while, the engine is going to start to choke up on you because it's not being driven nowhere near to its full potential, all right? So you don't want all those issues start taking place with it, all right? Now, other benefits of aquatic exercise, apart from the hydrostatic pressure, is that you have resistance from the water. Now, water is almost 800 times more dense than air, right? So it's about 800 times the density of air, which means in the water, based on what movements you're doing, you could get between 4 to over 40 times the resistance of air. So it is like lifting weights without actually having weights. And the type of resistance you get and the type of contraction your muscle has to make is what we would call isokinetic contraction, which means if you lift your hand up in the water, you have to also generate effort to bring your hand back down because you're getting resistance from every angle. So what we call the agonist and the antagonistic muscle both get a workout. So in other words, you only basically have agonist muscles in the water because to move in one direction, you have to use the antagonist as an agonistic muscle to move back, all right? So you get all-round muscular development, what we call musculoskeletal development. So training in the aquatic environment is the best. Anything you could do on land, doing it in water is automatically better, all right? So something as simple as this is something that most people don't know. When you are, let's say, swimming, in comparison to land-based exercises, swimming burns about 75% more calories than land-based exercises. Now that's swimming, right? Where you are trying to move across the water as quickly as possible. Aquatic exercise, you are usually vertical in the water, right? Where you are deliberately trying to get more resistance while you're doing the exercise. And aquatic exercise burns more calories than swimming. Now keep in mind, swimming burns 75% more calories than land-based exercises, and aquatic exercise burns more calories than swimming. So when you think about it in that manner, it is a more efficient and effective exercise environment. So now you also have the safety of the water, because as Rihanna would tell you, that in the water, Friday she was jumping. We did what we call plyometrics, right? Plyometric exercises, which is jumping exercises. And we did that in the water, right? So things you can't do on land, you could definitely do in the water. There was another client I had but she stopped due to the whole when class shut down because of pandemic and whatnot. And her age, that was back in 2020, she was 93 years old. 93 years old, she would come to the class with her walking stick, but there was no need for any walking stick in the water, right? And she was moving in the water, doing the exercises just like everybody else in the water, because that buoyancy that you get from the water allows you to be able to do things that you could not have done before. I had a client some years back, and I believe it was polio, right? So I had one with polio, had some another one with severe rheumatoid arthritis, very painful for her to move on land, but in water, right? She said, I remember her sister, when her sister brought her for the first time. Now this is somebody in the 30s, huh? Sister brought her to the class for the first time. And the sister was observing her sister in the class doing these exercises. And she said, this is the first time I have ever seen her move so well since we were 16 years old, right? And that's the benefit of training in the aquatic environment, all right? The aquatic environment is the best exercise environment, right, for anyone. And it doesn't just extend to humans alone. Before, when a horse breaks its leg, a racing horse, if they broke their leg, that was it. They would usually put the horse down because the horse recovery then used to go good and the horse could not have run at the speed that it used to run before. One guy was so in love, and this was in the US, he was so in love with his horse that he decided, as the horse broke his leg, he would rehabilitate the horse in a pool. So he built a pool for the horse. And guess what happened? The horse recovered, but the horse didn't just recover, the horse ended up faster than it was before the leg was broken. So the aquatic environment is that effective. I'm seeing now that they're trying to build aquatic treadmills for your home. We have a treadmill, but it's like in a tank of water, right? And have people run and stuff in it because of how benefiting training in water, utilizing the property of water is, right? And we need to understand that water is something quite unique, right? It's one of the few things that have 3 sustainable forms, right? When you think about it, it have a solid form, it have a liquid form, and it have a gas form, right? So there is some what I'll say, some magic in water, right? I'll use that term. There's some magic in water. So I encourage people to get more interested in the aquatic environment. Now, how I conduct my classes, I utilize the principle called HIIT, HIIT, which stands for high intensity interval training. Reason being, high intensity interval training, one, it goes with hills and valleys. You work maximum effort, then you have a period of recovery. And that has been shown and proven scientifically to be way more effective than steady state exercise. So much so, here the science on it. If you go for a 45-minute jog, you're jogging constantly for 45 minutes. Let's say you're jogging around the savannah. Utilizing high intensity interval training, if you do 1 minute of high intensity interval training, let's say, let me put it this way, you do a 20-second movement, let's say in the water, you do a 20-second run in the water, and then you have a recovery time, you do another 20-second run in the water, you have a recovery time, another 20-second run in the water, and recovery time. So that is 60 seconds of activity time. The cardiovascular benefits that you get from that 60 seconds of working out there is equivalent to a 45-minute steady state run. So let me repeat that. 60 seconds of high intensity interval training, right, is equivalent to a 45-minute steady state exercise. So if you're doing an aerobic class that you're going constantly for 45 minutes, a high intensity interval training exercise especially in the aquatic environment, is going to equate to that. And my class is for an hour. You see why it burns so much calories, right? Because it utilizes those principles, right? And the principle of high intensity interval training causes the body to utilize more fat. What it does, the body would utilize any energy that is, because it's an anaerobic activity, meaning outside or without the presence of oxygen. And when you go all out effort, you deplete the oxygen within the working muscles, right? So then the recovery time now, your body is going to have to gather energy through the form of glucose, right? In order, or not just glucose, but through the form of ketones as well, in order to supply the muscle back with a source of energy when the recovery is over. And because of that, it hits fat cells way more than any steady state exercise can, right? So that's one of the scientific benefits to the type of high intensity interval training that I use in my aquatic exercise classes. The other benefits as well is that when you're doing high intensity interval training, you get to work at your own pace, right? That's one of the other benefits. So like if you're doing a land-based aerobic class where you're going in time with the music and it's a choreographed routine, not everybody is at the same fitness level. So some people would be fumbling trying to get the move. Some people would be moving too slow. Some people may be moving too fast. Some people might find it too boring if you're trying to keep up with somebody that is at a lower fitness level, and others will find it's too intense if the class is trying to keep up with somebody at a higher fitness level, all right? But with high intensity interval training, you are working at your max, right? So if somebody max is doing 5 punches, another person max could be doing 15, right? But to their body, to the physiological system, right, to their metabolic system, that is their max. So both individuals basically would be working at the same intensity. So these are some of the benefits of training in the aquatic environment. All right. So far, before we go into the other aspect of stuff, stuff here with regards to health and fitness, anybody have any questions thus far? Any questions?
So if no one has a question, I do. What about lupus patients who are severely impacted by degeneration of their joints, persons who are in need of, let's say, replacement surgery, whether it's knee replacement, hip replacement, for those of the, for those patients who, because apart from living with lupus, they may have other autoimmune diseases. Like there are many patients who are dealing with rheumatoid arthritis as well as lupus. Their rheumatoid arthritis has left them somewhat partially disfigured in terms of their fingers and toes being bent and deformed and that sort of thing. Can a person living in that type of, or that level of restriction and pain, can they do this? I just want to drive. Right. Now I know it. I know the answer. You know the answer, but I really want to drive home the point, because a lot of patients think that exercise, because they are not able to physically do things and they are struggling with fatigue and all these other issues that come about with living with chronic illness. I just want to drive home the point that this can work.
Right. Now that would also take me into the other segment, right? But I would say this, it depends on the level. Someone's
Chetwayo, hang on a second.
Yeah, just
yes,
right.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So it depends on the extent of how badly the joints are deformed, all right? But that does not mean that there is no hope for that individual, because the other segment, after we take these little questions here, will be looking at the nutritional aspect of health and the importance of nutrition with regards to exercise and health in general, all right? Especially when it comes to knees and hips and so forth, because the nutrition is what plays a major part. So it all depends on how bad the joint is deformed, but once the person is able to walk and move around, they can work in the aquatic environment. Now, some, if their joints are severely deformed, they would need aquatic therapy, which is more of a one-on-one session, all right? Because my class is a group class, so it's a lot of people and everybody is working out. So regardless of how bad the joint is deformed, it depends on the extent of it. They would know which class they would have to get into, whether it's a aquatic exercise group class or a therapy class. Therapy is more one-on-one, all right? So one-on-one might be needed for people with severe deformities that would restrict their movement, because they may need somebody in the pool with them to assist, all right?
I have a question, please.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that exercise does help, because even before I was diagnosed with lupus and going through the whole stages of what it is really going on, anytime I take like long walks or do any form of exercise consistently, I would get relief. So I know that for a fact. But one thing I want to know is if you see much weight loss with this type of exercise. Weight loss because of the aquatic. So that would be very much interesting.
Okay. Now with aquatic exercise, because it burns more than because aquatic exercise, swimming burns more than 75% more calories than land-based exercise, and aquatic exercise burns more calories than swimming. It means it is the type of environment for exercise that would burn the most amount of calories. So therefore, just from that angle alone, you know it can create the largest amount of weight loss. But when it comes to weight loss, I always tell people weight loss comes down to nutrition, right? Weight loss comes down to nutrition. You cannot out-exercise a bad diet, right? And that's sometimes what people try to do. We try to out-exercise a bad diet. I even know people in the gym that are very fit looking, right? And they train hard, right? Always training 2-3 hours a day because their diet is bad. But guess what happens? You might look at them and say, oh, this person is looking physically fit. They're strong, they're lean, they're ripped. But then they get injured. Because the injury is usually, because those always come to me and say, I have an injury here, there, anything causing it. And so, well, your diet is off, so the body could not repair itself as fast as you are damaging it, right? So that would eventually happen. So nutrition plays a major role with regards to weight loss, with regards to maintaining health. And that's what we're going to look at shortly, all right? So we'll look at the nutritional aspect.
Doing the exercises also in water, does that have to tone up your body also?
Right. So because the water you get 4 to over 40 times the resistance of air, right? It means you also do tone, right? But toning, because we use tone, but the word tone has something to do more with color, like a tone or shade, right? But we just adapted it. Yeah, so it was adapted in by the fitness industry, right? But what most people don't understand is toning means to build muscle.
Yeah.
Right? Toning means to build muscle. But when it comes to building muscle, that also comes down to nutrition. Back to the diet there. So the diet would always play the major role in these things. So diet and exercise works hand in hand. Now, here's something that people don't know. You can diet and lose weight, right? That's something that could happen for sure. You can diet, make changes to your diet and lose weight and get healthy, right? But you can exercise and not lose weight.
Gain weight.
Right? You could exercise and gain weight, you could exercise and lose weight, you could exercise and stay one spot, but that is all determined by the diet. You can exercise and exercise can make your body more unhealthy if the nutrition aspect of the diet is lacking. So nutrition, again, is the key factor when it comes to getting the true benefits of exercise. So many people who haven't changed their diet and exercise and are getting benefits, they are only scratching the surface of the benefits that they are getting. But if they make the right changes to the diet, they would see the true benefits, all right? So I'm seeing a hand up, Joanne Barclay. Could go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Joanne.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, I have osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. I had a hip replacement, say about over 3 years ago, and I'm due for a next one.
Oh, Lord.
So, well, the knees and everything seems to be bad. But when the doctor took the x-rays, he was showing me that, like I was missing parts of my bones, like the bones was deteriorating. So my question is, would the aquatic exercise help me to better walk or to improve my mobility?
Okay. All right. So aquatic exercise, because there's a woman in my class, she just came back from doing knee replacement surgery. And when she started, needed assistance. This was in April when we started back this year in April. Needed assistance to go into the pool and out of the pool due to the knee replacement surgery. And now she's going in and out of the pool on her own. Right. In fact, when one of her daughters didn't see her for a while and saw her after just about, it was into the second month of the aquatic exercise, that the daughters were, but the daughter's like, Mom, you're walking normal. And the daughter is shocked at how her mother is walking normal now, right? And this is also without proper nutritional changes. Now, what I was telling her, if she had made the necessary changes to the nutrition long beforehand, there would not have been a need for the knee replacement surgery, right? Because I've had a client in the past, and she was carded to do knee replacement surgery on both knees. So she started with me doing personal training, and then she did the aquatic exercise, and within that 3-month space, a day I see her come to the water park to come to the aquatic exercise, and she came out of her car and was running to the pool. And she was running to tell me that there's no more pain in the knees, and the doctors tell her that she no longer have to do the knee replacement surgery, right? So her issue there, not saying that the damage automatically repaired itself, but there was no more furtherance of damage and no more pain, right? Because many people have arthritis, many people. I am sure I have arthritis myself. In fact, some years back, I used to get severe pain in my knees, but based on changes to my diet, I no longer have pain in my knees. There's many exercises I had to stop doing because of the pain in my knees. And then when I made certain changes to my diet, all those pains vanished. So the exercise, the training in the water can definitely help with that. But again, when we go into the next segment here, where we start to look at the nutritional aspect, that is where the major changes need to be made. I think I saw someone else hand up that wanted to ask a question.
Thank you.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. I'm Lestra Johnson. My daughter has been diagnosed with lupus, and what I've been dealing with, what I've been dealing with at this time, she got cellulitis in her both knees. And well, with that cellulitis, a lot of her knee and all the meat and thing was exposed, but now it healed up. But she cannot open her foot. She cannot open her foot no more than in a sitting position, and she cannot walk. So I've been asking doctors, well, what could be the result for that problem? And well, most of them are telling me like lupus is something that does all this stuff. So, but as a concerned mommy, I want to know what happened to them knees, because I've been rubbing it. I get to go to see a physiotherapist, but just the doctor just look at the foot and tell me the foot seems to be calcification. That's the word.
Okay.
And
Right.
he told me that they don't do surgery to fix that on lupus patients. So I just be home and rubbing it 3 times a day for myself. But then I see no improvement on it, and she's not walking, and they just remain in this L shape.
Okay. Right.
So
So calcification.
do you all diagnose in that field what is really happening to her foot?
Well, I'm going to tell you what's happening to her foot. Right. So as you mentioned, you said calcification of the joint now, and they don't do surgery on lupus patients. Now, I don't know if you have heard, but when it comes to calcification of joints, the body can reabsorb the calcium, right? Your body is designed to heal itself if it is given the right things. So calcification of joints, the calcium that has built up can be reabsorbed and redistributed correctly in the body. And that could help alleviate that issue, right? But the conditions has to be right for that to take place, right? For that reabsorption of calcium to take place, because what you're getting is that calcium deposits in the joint there. And that could be due to injury. It could be due to autoimmune issues. And that's what we're going to start looking at. If we do have any other questions, we'll start looking at the nutritional aspects of things to get a better understanding of how nutrition affects the immune system. All right. Any other questions thus far? All right. So if we have no further questions, I'm going to share my screen and deal with a particular topic that some might say is a sensitive topic, but I am no stranger to dealing with sensitive issues, right? Because hello? Yes.
It's Diane Philip.
Yeah.
I have lupus, right? And it's 2 types I have, but they didn't give me any exercise to do. But I went to clinic Friday on the 3rd, and I was telling the doctor I'm getting a lot of pains from the body straight down to the foot. At times I cannot walk, times I can't do anything, can't lift the hands. If I go to bed, is that somebody had to help me take off my clothes and whatever else, because the body is just paining. So he told me it's true till lupus had given me these pains, but he's not telling me, well, Diane, what it is really causing it besides the lupus with the joints, because I have that same arthritis that you call there. That is pain the bones very bad, because I also have sickle cells, a trait of sickle cells. And I don't know if it's because of all that the body does with paining, but I just can't get up at times. Sometimes if I get up, the body pain me right through until evening. It don't give me at ease at all. If I try to walk, like if I go town to just come back, or go clinic to come back, or just walk out the house, out in the yard, I get a lot of pain going and coming, and I don't know what to do about it.
Okay.
Sometimes I ask the father to take me, because I just can't take them thing no more.
Okay.
And then I come and I get a spasm to the face, a spasm stroke with only cramping to the face. And it's like I can't chew. So the dietitian had give me soft things, like mashed potato, pumpkin, wheat of it, smoothies. But like when I taking it, the weight is dropping off more and more, because I cannot get to eat how I'm supposed to eat, because I don't eat all kind of things, even self. You know, but I don't know what it is causing my body with the pains to act like that. And it's not like today I get up good and tomorrow I get it. You know, it's right through the week that's happening to me. Since I become a lupus patient, I don't know what it is.
All right. So what I'm going to share now would be dealing with the nutritional aspect, and that is where you're going to see where the source of your issue stems from, right? So I am going to start off. I believe AJ would have been is going to be familiar with this, because I was looking at it last night with him on a segment online. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. So let me know if you all are seeing. You all are seeing the screen?
Yeah.
All right. So this here is the American Council of Science and Health. American Council.
Chetwayo, excuse, can you do full screen?
Oh, you're not seeing full screen?
It's on my end, it looks tiny.
Yeah, tiny.
Okay, you can zoom, right. Okay, got it, yeah.
Okay, all right. So this is the American Council on Science and Health. And of course, you see their motto, promoting science and debunking junk since 1978. All right. So just quickly to read what they're about, the American Council on Science and Health is a pro-science consumer advocacy organization and a 501c3 nonprofit. The council was founded in 1978 by a group of scientists with a singular focus to publicly support evidence-based science and medicine and to debunk junk science and exaggerated health scares. So due to the laws in the American Constitution, this organization, the American Council on Science and Health, exists, all right? It's a bunch of scientists, most of which are researchers with PhDs and so forth. It is not a fly-by-night organization. They make recommendations to different panels and whatnot, all right? So I'll just read through their mission. The American Council on Science and Health was created to be the science alternative to news that is often little more than hype based on exaggerated findings. We help policymakers see past scaremongers and activist groups who have targeted GMOs, vaccines, conventional agriculture, nuclear power, natural gas, and chemicals while peddling health scares and fad diets. We fight back against activists who have attacked the credibility of the overwhelming consensus of academic and private sector scientists who dispute their claims, undermining the integrity of the scientific enterprise. You may be here because you have decided it's time to fight back. We agree the council's primary aim is to inform the public and policymakers of good science while debunking the junk. We serve as trusted guides in a cultural landscape that too often provides confusing and contradictory information. We are not a trade association. We do not represent any industry. This section here just talk about how small their budget is. Their budget is 1/500 of that of large corporations. So this is why the information that they have, which is all credible, you may not have heard about it, you may not have come across it because their budget isn't as large for them to be publicizing it as much as large corporations. Now, I'm saying that because I need to establish that this is a credible organization first because of the nature of what I'm going to say, right? Before I say anything, I've seen, all right, so just so I'll comment there in the chat, just make sure you okay that. All right, so I want to establish that this is a credible organization. The information is recognized by the government of the United States because it is part of they are in existence due to the Constitution of the United States. So it is not a fake site or a false site or anything like that. And I'm saying that because this is what I'm going to share. Can we all see this heading? Anybody? We all see in the heading?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so it says 99.99% of pesticides we eat are produced by plants themselves. Now I know the mind is going to start, you might start thinking, what does that actually mean? It means exactly what it says. 99.99% of pesticides we eat are produced by plants themselves, right? So I'm going to read through this article because this one is a short article, but there are other articles which I'll draw reference to from the same site on the same topic. So listen carefully and you can follow along as I read. The word pesticide is misunderstood nearly at the same extent as the word chemical. People have been led to believe, largely by the organic food industry and environmental activists, that pesticides are unnatural, dangerous, and do not belong in the food supply. but this defies a basic understanding of biology. A pesticide is any chemical, natural or human-made, that is designed to kill another organism. Using that broad definition, there are probably hundreds of thousands of pesticides in the natural environment. As it turns out, biological warfare was invented and perfected by Mother Nature. For example, some bacteria and fungi produce antibiotics to kill other microbes. We don't call these antibiotics pesticide, but that's exactly what they are. To a bacterial cell, a microbe of a different species is often nothing more than a competitive pest that should die. So it produces chemicals with the intention of killing it. That's a pesticide. Plants do the same thing. From a plant's point of view, many insects are nothing more than dangerous leaf-eating parasites that should die. So plants produce insecticides like caffeine and nicotine to keep those obnoxious six-legged vegetarians away. They also produce pesticides to keep the furry four-legged vegetarians away too. And guess what? When we eat plants, we are eating those pesticides too. A paper co-authored in 1990 by an venerable Bruce Ames found that 99.99% of the pesticides we consume in our diet are produced by the plants themselves. Given the popularity of organic food and the unscientific methodology underlying it, his findings are more relevant now than ever. So I'm going to pause there for a quick second. I'm going to jump to another article on this page written by another doctor, Dr. Just Bloom. He's also a PhD scientist. Similar heading, 99.9% of pesticides we eat are made by plants. I'm just going to read through the first part for you all to understand what they are saying and what I am trying to get you all to understand as well. When Bruce Ames talks about toxicity, it's time to listen. Ames is the inventor of the hugely important Ames test for mutagenicity, which measures the damage done to DNA by a given chemical. The Ames test is an essential hurdle in the world of drug discovery research. While a positive Ames test is not the de facto proof that a chemical will be carcinogenic in humans, it's a giant red flag in drug development. Many promising drugs have met their maker simply because of a positive Ames test. So the same Bruce Ames that discovered that 99.99% of pesticides we consume are from plants, he has this testing mechanism that is highly respected in the scientific community, highly respected. So now he says, good luck avoiding pesticides. Since pesticides and herbicides are routinely in the news lately because of the glyphosate wars, I thought it might be interesting to examine a review article that Ames and colleagues wrote nearly 3 decades ago in Proceedings of the National Academy of Scientists, PNAS. If you are dwelling under the illusion that you can prance into Whole Foods and overpay for a bunch of organic stuff without pesticides, this article will disabuse you of the fallacy. If you don't want to consume pesticides, then you better stop eating because you are consuming them with each bite. Plenty of them, according to Ames. 99.99% by weight of the pesticides consumed by the American public are made by the plants themselves as a defense mechanism. Synthetic and natural pesticides are equally likely to be carcinogenic. You are unlikely to see this information posted in a Whole Foods. Ames writes, and emphasis mine, toxicological examination of synthetic chemicals such as pesticides and industrial pollutants without similar examination of the chemicals in the natural world to use for comparison has generated an imbalance in both data and perception and about potential hazards to humans. I'm just going to read up to here and then stop. No kidding. At the American Council, we have been screaming this for many years, only to be called shilled for industry. Anytime we dare to call it chemical safe. Not only are we not shills, but we have been right about one key point all along. The divide between natural and artificial chemicals is meaningless, something many Americans do not know. The origin of a chemical is irrelevant. Your body cannot tell what is natural or synthetic. Only the properties of the chemical matter. It is hard to blame consumers. The organic food industry and internet quacks have done a masterful job in creating a narrative that maintains that we are all being poisoned by tiny quantities of thousands of man-made chemicals. And the way to avoid this is to buy so-called natural products because they don't contain chemicals. But that narrative is dead wrong. Great marketing, terrible science. Let's take a look at how Ames reaches his conclusion. Going on pause there for a second, because I know what was said there is very much likely something you have never heard before, right? I'm pretty sure that to many people, it's like, what was just said there? What I'm saying is, well, let me not say what I am saying. What the American Council of Science and Health is saying is that there are more harmful chemicals in natural foods than there are man-made chemicals. Now, we have spent more time trying to avoid man-made chemicals, right? More time trying to avoid man-made chemicals. And we have completely ignored the natural chemicals that are there and are harming the body. So much so that 99.99% of the chemicals that we consume, right, come from the natural sources, 99.9, which means man-made chemicals that are found in the human system only makes up 0.01% of all the harmful chemicals found in the human body. 0.01%, right? Now we're going back to an article, to the same article, and continue from where I stopped. And I hope you all follow, and then we're going to discuss it a little bit, right? Because I know we're going to have some questions after this. So I'm going to continue. Natural pesticides in your food. According to Dr. Ames' team, every plant produces roughly a few dozen toxins, some of which at a high enough dose would be toxic to humans. Cabbage produces at least 49 known pesticides. Given the ubiquity of natural pesticides, Dr. Ames estimates that Americans eat about 1.5 grams of natural pesticides per person per day, which is about 10,000 times more than they eat of synthetic pesticide residues. Furthermore, Dr. Ames estimates that we consume 5,000 to 10,000 different natural pesticides every day, many of which cause cancer when tested in lab animals. Dr. Ames then pens quite possibly the best paragraph ever written in scientific literature.
Don't forget, guys, join the Voice of Lupus Foundation today at 4 o'clock. Today, Sunday.
All right, I think, yes, okay. Right, so here's the paragraph here. Rodent carcinogens are present in the following foods. Now, if I pronounce some of these things wrong, you all do chastise me. Huh?
Sorry, I'm just interrupting to just let you know I'm going live on TikTok, okay? So we're streaming live on TikTok.
No problem. All right. So it says rodent carcinogens are present in the following foods, which means in these foods, there are compounds, chemicals in them that can cause cancer, right? The possibility of it causing cancer is high enough for it to be flagged, all right? So anise, apple, apricot, banana, basil, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cantaloupe, caraway, carrot, cauliflower, celeries, cherries, cinnamon, cloves, cocoa, coffee, collard greens, Humphrey herb tea, currants, dill, eggplant, and divine, fennel, grapefruit juice, grapes, guava, honey, honeydew melon, horseradish, kale, lentils, lettuce, mangoes, mushrooms, mustard, nutmeg, orange juice, parsley, parsnips, peach, pear, peas, black pepper, pineapple, plum, potato, radish, raspberries, rosemary, sesame seeds, tarragon, tea, tomato, and turnip. Thus, it is probable that almost every fruit and vegetable in the supermarket contains natural plant pesticides that are rodent carcinogens. The level of these rodent carcinogens in the above plants are commonly thousands of times higher than the levels of synthetic pesticides. Goes on to say here, do you cook your food? That produces cancer-causing toxins too. Do you like coffee? That's a boiling hot cup of rodent carcinogens. It must be kept in mind that for every scary synthetic pesticide man has created, Mother Nature has created something worse, and you probably eat it regularly. However, if you still insist on eliminating all pesticides from your diet, there is one thing you can do. Stop eating. Personally, I just simply say, stop eating plants. Now, having said that, I want to go on the record and say this. I do not consume any plant-based foods whatsoever. I do not eat any fruits. I do not eat any vegetables. I do not eat any seeds whatsoever. I have zero health issues. I have zero risk of any health issues, right? I used to be in the past when I used to consume foods just like the average Trinidadian. I used to be asthmatic. I used to be allergic to shellfish. I used to have arthritis. I used to have all sorts of conditions. I have zero at the moment. In fact, so much so that I breathe 3 to 6 times slower than the average person, which means my lung capacity, moving from somebody that couldn't watch a comedy show without having their inhaler. Every comedy show, I must take a couple of puffs of my inhaler once I start to laugh, right? So I moved from that to having a lung capacity that I have held my breath for over 3 minutes, right? So I moved from somebody that can't breathe, right, and need an inhaler, to being able to hold my breath for 3 minutes, all right? So, questions.
Questions. Feel free to ask questions. Yes, feel free to ask your questions, guys.
I will be doing my own research. So you could probably just give us the name of those sites again, and so we could do our own reading. That's all I would say.
Sure, and I'm going to give even more information because that's something I love to do. I love to share information, right? So
I do have a question on TikTok. Someone is asking, how do I start this? The person says they have been living with autoimmune diseases. They did not tell me what it was. They have been living with autoimmune diseases and they want to know how to start. How do I start?
All right. So the first area I'm going to tell people to start is by cutting the use of seed oils, right? By cutting the use of seed oils. Okay, I'm not just going to say this, but I'm going to show the information on this as well. Because like I said, I like to share information and explain stuff.
And Chetwayo, someone just asked, so seed oil, tell us what seed oils are. So we could just, for the benefit of persons, this is like canola. This is
so basically all the vegetable oils, right? All the vegetable oils, right? All the plant-based oils, cut it out, right? Cut it out. And I'm going to show information on that. Now, before I share information on that, any other questions, please?
Would you be telling us what we could replace those vegetables with?
Many things do actually need to be replaced. But we will get into that soon enough, right? So I'll go in and start with this. In nature, if you want to see the worst of a living creature, right? You want to see that living creature most angry, most dangerous. It means the time that you would see them most dangerous, some might say is when the animal is hungry. Yeah, they'll be a little aggressive when they're hungry. But the time when they would be most dangerous is when that living organism is protecting their young, right? I mean, let's take Trinidad. Adults would take all sorts of stuff. But the moment it starts to affect their children, you're going and see bacchanal, right? People don't play with their offspring, right? Now we have to understand something now. Plants are the same way, right? Plants are also very protective of their offspring because that is their future, and no living organism wants to be eaten or killed. They are there to survive. So a plant is not there to be your food, right? They want to live just like any other living creature. This is why no animal does just say, come and eat me, right? No animal does that. They always put up a little fight. No animal wants to be eaten or killed. No plant is the same way as well. No plants want to be eaten. So this is why they create these compounds within themselves to protect themselves from other organisms that are trying to consume them. They don't want to be eaten. But unlike animals, animals can't escape danger. They can run away, they could fly away, they could swim away, they could crawl away, right? And then they might have a horn or a claw or teeth to defend themselves if they are cornered. A plant can't move. They can't move. And because they can't move, they have to come up with another form of defense, right? So their defense is offensive, but it's offensive from an internal aspect. So it would attack you from the inside out. Now their offspring has to have the greatest defense, right? Because their offspring is what's going to perpetuate their future, their generation. If their offspring can be easily consumed, then the plant would go extinct. This is why seed oils are so dangerous. Seed oils has a lot of and almost all of those plant-based toxins in them because the seed is designed, in case you consume them, it is designed with certain compounds in them to stop your body's digestion so that it can pass through your system without being damaged and come out on the next end and grow in a different location, right? So you might say, what? And I'm going to prove this to you. So I'm going to share my screen again and show you some information with regards to seed oil. I'm not going to read the whole article because it's a very long article. I'm just going to jump to the charts so that you all can see the charts and I will do some explanation. Of course, I encourage everyone to do their own research. Research. Don't just take my word for it, right? Don't take my word for it. Start doing your own research as well. And I always encourage that, always encourage that. So this article from Zero Acre, and it says the world needs an oil change. I'm not going to read through this, I'm going to jump to the charts. All right, so this is global consumption of vegetable oil. And this goes back from 1909 to 2019. We see here, it's in million metric tons. So back in 1909, it was down to, seems to be like zero. Back in these days, and earlier we used to use things like ghee for cooking and frying foods and whatnot, right? So things like ghee was used. But then you had the birthing of the whole vegetable oil industry. But even back here, they used to sometimes use things like coconut oil, right? Now, over the years, it has increased from 0 million metric tons to almost 210 million metric tons within a 100-year time span. This is a drastic increase, drastic increase in the consumption of vegetable oils. And then we have, when it comes to land space, look how much space it used to use in the 1960s. To 2050 now, almost 500 million acres, from less than a million acre to almost 500. I believe it's over 500 now because this was from 2015. I believe today it's over 500 million acres, right? So that's a lot of land space that is going to produce these crops, right? And there's a reason why. Before I go to that reason why, I'm just going to show here, increased risk of death by diet and lifestyle factors. You have severe obesity, heavy smoking, and third, vegetable oil. Imagine vegetable oil come above being physically inactive and heavy drinking and moderate smoking, even sugar consumption. I find that quite interesting, but we don't pay any attention to vegetable oil. I personally, me being a holistic health and fitness expert, I class vegetable oil as the most dangerous food that you can possibly eat, that they say is edible, right? I class it as the most dangerous food. Now, something most people don't know, because a lot of us, we know about lung cancer, and many people associate lung cancer with cigarette smoking. What most people don't know, this you can check out as well, is that only 10% of lung cancer victims are smokers. I am not saying that smoking is not bad for you. Smoking can cause a whole host of other ailments that can cause death. But when it comes to lung cancer, only 10% of lung cancer victims are smokers. Now, my simple theory is, and which other people around the world also agree with, is a lot of people that suffer from lung cancer are people that spend a lot of time in the kitchen inhaling vegetable oil smoke, because there's something called smoke point that many people are unaware of. So when you are inhaling these toxic fumes from vegetable oils, it is damaging to your lungs, right? So
Chetwayo, I have a
question.
Yes, I have a question. So on TikTok, there is someone who is touting that they cured their autoimmune condition by doing 90 days just intermittent fasting and juicing. I think we talked about this before, right?
Yeah,
we talked.
And I'm gonna come to that because AJ asked that same question last night.
Right.
And
so the person is saying that they actually cured they had psoriasis, not lupus. They're saying that they cured their psoriasis in 90 days. So in 3 months, by just removing all foods and just strictly juicing.
Right. And I'm going to explain.
Right.
I'm going to explain that shortly, which actually would bring us to the other chart here. So this chart that I'm going to pull up here, right? And this here deals with the average American consumes 5 to 10 tablespoons of vegetable oil per day. That's the average American. We know Trini is consuming more because we love the doubles and the sahina and the aloo pie and whatnot, and the fried chicken, right? And French fries. So we love those things. So we probably consume even more. But let's go with this. To consume the same amount of polyunsaturated fats, because that's what vegetable oils are, polyunsaturated fat, right? To get it from corn, in 1 day, you would have to consume 98 ears of corn just to get 5 tablespoons, not even the 10. Just to get 5 tablespoons, you'll have to consume 98 ears of corn in 1 day. I could tell you, nobody could do that. To get it in from sunflower oil, you have to consume 2,800 sunflower seeds in 1 day just to get 5 tablespoons, right? If you want to get it from grapeseed oil, you would have to consume 625 grapes in 1 day. And to get it from brown rice, you would have to consume 40 cups of brown rice. Now, I could tell you, some people will use 1 cup of rice and feed the whole household. So imagine trying to consume 40 cups of rice.
Shoot.
Right? So that's a lot.
I noticed, I observed olive oil is not on that list. No coconut oil.
Oh, this is just a general, just a random stuff that is showing, just to show you how much it is. So they wouldn't put oil, but coconut oil is not really a problem. I'll show you where I can explain where coconut oil can be a problem, because you have to look at the extracting method of how they extract the oil. So if somebody have to use coconut oil, I would recommend that they go with cold press, right? But all the other vegetable oil, they have to use a chemical, a petrochemical called hexane. Hexane is similar to kerosene, and that is what they use to extract the oil out of these plants, because remember, these are the future generation of the plant. The plant doesn't want their oils out. right? So this is why the process has to be so immense in order to extract that oil out of the plant. It doesn't want to come out. And what is it that they're extracting? When you extract that, you're extracting the same chemicals in the plant that the plant designed in order to stop the digestion of the body, right? Now, what is polyunsaturated fats? Because we know about saturated fats, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, but do people really understand what it is?
Yeah.
And it has to do with the chemical structure of it, all right? Let me see if I could find, because I know I did this topic on Breaking Dawn sometime in the past, and I'm supposed to have some charts somewhere on my laptop with regards to saturated fats and unsaturated fats so that people could get a visual of what it really is, right? But while I look for it, I'll explain a little. It has to do.
I'm sorry, Chetwayo, sorry to break your train of thought. Just for the benefit of those who are streaming on TikTok, someone is just asking if you can repeat, please repeat what are the benefits of aqua exercise for someone who has joint issues.
Okay.
Just for the audience on TikTok, they did not hear that segment.
Okay.
Just to go back, just for 2 minutes, the benefits of aquatic exercise to treat chronic pain in debilitating conditions like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, those sorts of things.
All right. So some of the benefits has to do with the buoyancy of the water because it decompresses the joints. So it takes pressure off of the joints, which increases range of motion and flexibility. All right, so that's some of the benefits there, which are basically instant by entering the water. You also have the hydrostatic pressure, which is the force of the water, the weight of the water pressing against the body, which aids in circulation. So as the joints are now decompressed and you have the hydrostatic pressure being placed on the body, you get more nutrients being delivered to those joints and waste material being removed from those joints and areas. And that can help in healing of those areas. You also have the resistance of the water, with water being almost 800 times more dense than air. You can get up to 4 to 40 times the resistance of air. And therefore, you would have better muscle development because you have pressure from every angle, which is something we call isokinetic force that you have to generate, which means you get resistance from every angle. So every movement needs to make, you need to make effort. Both the agonist and antagonistic muscles will have to work together. All right. So if you lift your arm up, you have to generate effort or force in order to bring the arm back down. So that's some of the benefits of training in the water. And then I utilize high intensity interval training, which in 1 minute of high intensity interval training, you get the same benefits of a 45-minute steady state activity. All right. So these are some of the benefits.
I am going to end TikTok now. So can you just list your details? So for those who are on TikTok and, they can go across to your page, get your contact details.
Oh, sure. All right. So you can look for me. Once you put in my name, Chetwayo, because I'm the only person alive in the world with this name. So you go to TikTok, you go to Instagram, you go to Facebook, you put in Chetwayo at CHETWAYO, you're sure to get me. Almost all of them, you would see information that would have my number on it at 761-1952. And for those that are international, plus 1-868-761-1952. And you could send me a WhatsApp message. All right, so that's how you could get onto me via WhatsApp. But on my Instagram and Facebook page, my numbers would be there, and it should have the WhatsApp button where you can find me. If not, you look for, which would be on, as you're seeing here, Chetwayo's Fitness Enterprise. You look for that on Facebook and Instagram, and you would also find me as well.
All right, thank you so much. So you can continue. So we're ending on TikTok.
No problem. All right, so what I'm going to share my screen here now and show would be in reference to to help us get a better understanding of what saturated and unsaturated fats are. All right. So here it is. We have a little diagram here. I know this might lose people, but bear with me, right? This is just a little bit of a science here. So this here is with trans fat, right? So there's an image with trans fat. But I just want to show when it comes to saturated fats, you would see there are single carbon bonds, right? A double carbon bond, which is what takes place here, a double carbon bond site is weaker, right? So a polyunsaturated fat has multiple double carbon bonds. So it's a weaker bonding site, and therefore it makes polyunsaturated fats very unstable. So in other words, polyunsaturated fats are not good when it comes to dealing with heat because they have these double carbon bonds, which makes them highly unstable, right? Not saying they don't have its use in the body, but when it comes to being used for energy, it is not a good source of energy at all, right? So when it comes to heat, polyunsaturated fats are not good for heating, right? But guess what people use polyunsaturated fats for? For frying everything, right? But based on the carbon bond, the double carbon bond, it is terrible for frying stuff. It becomes what they call a reactive oxygen species that promotes oxidation in your body. Oxidation means it causes things to deteriorate, right? It produces free radicals, right? So seed oils is something that people need to stay away from, all right? Need to stay away from seed oils, right? So the polyunsaturated fats, stay away from those. Go for saturated fats. Now, if you have to get in polyunsaturated fats, you notice when I show the diagram there with nature, it's very small amounts that nature has, right? So you have polyunsaturated fats in your fish and in meats as well. So seafood is a good source of the right amount and the right ratio of polyunsaturated fats. So let me explain something now on this. For everybody at autoimmune issues, this is something you need to pay very close attention to. Omega-3 and omega-6. These are your polyunsaturated fats, omega-3 and omega-6. Omega-3 is anti-inflammatory, meaning it reduces inflammation in the body. Omega-6 is pro-inflammatory, meaning it increases inflammation in the body. In nature, the ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 is 1 omega-3 to 1 to 4 omega-6. So it usually ranges 1 to 4. 1 omega-3 to between 1 to 4 omega-6. Now, some people might be like, oh my gosh, that's so terrible. But your polyunsaturated fats or your omega-6 is supposed to be higher than your omega-3, right? It is supposed to be, and I'll explain why. Let me see if I could pull up one of my images to show why, because you know when we use diagram, it helps people to understand things a lot better than when we just speak it. Oh, I actually now see that I have another diagram showing what the polyunsaturated fats look like. So I'll show that as well, right? So this here shows the saturated fats. You see how stable it is with the single carbon bond, and this is the unsaturated fats. And polyunsaturated fats have multiple. Let me pull out this here. Polyunsaturated fats have multiple of these double carbon bonds. It makes them highly unstable, all right? So let me try to look for my image here that would show, I want to show an image of inflammation and how it happens in the body and how it affects the body. Hopefully I could find it, all right? Let me see if I could pull that up here. This will be coming too soon. Some diagrams. And what I want to show is when a splinter enters the body, the response that the body has, all right? So when a splinter, let's say, you're in the yard and a piece of wood stick your hand, right? So that breaks your skin. It would come in with some bacteria. So then you have a response of the body, which is chemical signaling, and you see you have your blood vessels here, as it says down here, tissue injury. It releases chemical signals such as histamine. So that's where histamine would come in. And it says dilation and increased leakiness of local blood vessels, migration of phagocytes to the area. So this is where you get due to the histamine response, it causes the blood vessels to kind of become more permeable to allow phagocytes, which I like to say it's like soldiers coming in to try to consume whatever harmful thing is coming into the body, right? So it says phagocytes, macrophages, neutrophils consume bacteria and cell debris, and it helps to heal the tissue. So that's what happened. This is why your omega-6 needs to be higher than your omega-3, because if your omega-3 is higher, this response would not take place. And then the bacteria could enter your body and do a whole host of damages, right? So this is why your omega-3 has to be lower and your omega-6 has to be higher. But remember the ratio. The ratio in nature is 1 omega-3 to between 1 to 4 omega-6. The ratio in vegetable oils is 1 omega-3 to 15 to 17 omega-6, right? Let me repeat that. In vegetable oils, the ratio is 1 omega-3 to 15 to 17 omega-6, which means your body's immune response becomes hyperactive.
Yes.
Right? Your body's immune response becomes hyperactive. Now, if you're consuming something in your diet that is causing your immune system to be working on hyperdrive, what is it going to attack if there is no bacteria or no,
foreign object.
Foreign object entering the
Yes.
body? It is going to attack
Self.
your own body. It's
Organ
going to
of
attack
the-
itself,
Yes.
right? So what I just mentioned there is very possible that what I told you all there can be related to the rise in autoimmune disorders worldwide. Because we have seen from 1909, where we had less than 1 million metric acres, 1 million acres, 1 million metric tons, sorry, of vegetable oil being consumed, to 2015, where it is now over 210 million metric tons, right? We are consuming something that is putting our immune system into hyperdrive. And then when the body starts attacking itself, the medical world says they don't know what causes it. You understand what I'm saying? So when the person asks, where should they start if they want to make changes to their health and their diet, they should start by cutting out seed oils. Now, the person that said they reversed their psoriasis in 90 days by going on intermittent fasting and also just juicing, look at what happened there. If they went on intermittent fasting, one, it means a large portion of the day they are not consuming anything. When it's very possible, remember we looked at the average American was consuming 5 to 10 tablespoons of vegetable oil per day. So if they are now fasting for a large period of the day, it means they have cut out a lot of the seed oils that they would have been consuming otherwise. And because of that cutting out, regardless of what they were juicing, because of that cutting out of the seed oils, the body now had time to rid itself of the excess amount of omega-6 fatty acids, omega-6. And therefore, their psoriasis would have gone into remission.
So that period of fasting is really what contributed to the repair of the immune system.
The repair. So while they're associating that is the juicing that help, is not actually the juicing. it is the fact that they have stopped consuming a lot of the things that were bringing in the harmful products to the body that was putting their immune system into hyperdrive. That is what contributed to their body healing itself. All right. So I know we're going to have some questions. Any questions?
Come on, guys, don't be shy. Introduce yourself before you you say anything, please.
Hello.
Yes, question? Yeah, sure.
Deidre Reese here.
Yes, yes, Reese.
Will margarine come under that same category as seed oils?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
Mrs. Reese.
Yeah, margarine. What you want to look for is you want to go for butter, not sunflower butter, or you want to look for butter how butter was originally made, which is you go for your Kerrygold and your Anchor butter, which are made from cow's milk.
And ghee, right?
And ghee. Ghee is a key one. I also like to order fats and stuff from duck fat, goose fat, and those different types of things. I would order those things from Canada and use as well.
Oh,
right?
yes, yes, yes.
All right, so I'm seeing another question. Diane?
Hi, good afternoon. This is Diane Budu. I wanted you to clarify. I know you mentioned about the coconut oil that Rihanna had asked about, but you didn't give, or maybe I missed it, any more information about it. Because you clarify whether it's good to use the coconut oil or not?
Right. When it comes to coconut oil, you want to go for cold pressed coconut oil, because coconut oil is not a polyunsaturated fat. It's a saturated fat. So coconut oil is similar to that of fats from animals. Similar. It's not the same, but it's very similar because it has a higher percentage of saturated fats. All right. Now, all the oils and fats have both saturated, monounsaturated, and polyunsaturated, but it's the ratio. Right. What we class as saturated fats simply means that there are way more saturated fats in it in comparison to the mono and the poly. Right? Polyunsaturated fats means the ratio, the percentage of polyunsaturated fats is way more than the mono or the saturated fats. All right. So you wouldn't get anything that is completely one thing. Right. And that's something you might notice in nature. Nothing is completely ever one thing. Yeah. It has a certain percentage of something. It's like the energy systems in the body, ATP, CP, keratin, phosphate, or what do you call the lactic acid diphosphate system. Then you have the oxidative system, beta oxidative system. I know I probably lost you all saying all these things. But what it just means is different energy systems in the body that are used at different times, but all of them are always working. Right? But just they would switch in the percentage in which they are used based on the activity that you're doing. Right? So same thing with fats. They have different types of fats in the fats, but the percentage is what makes the difference, and that's how they get the name. That also brings to a different topic when we come to herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores, right? That is also based on a percentage of how much of the digestive system of the animal is designed for the breaking down or fermentation of plant material, right? Now, if I ask you all, what category do humans fall into? What would you all say between herbivore, omnivore, and carnivore? Anybody?
I would say omnivore, plants and animals.
All right. So this is also what we have been taught in school. So let's take a look at a little chart and see how our digestive system is made up. All right.
Chetwayo, someone is being a little naughty here. They said, but even in the days of Adam and Eve, all they ate were plants. How do you?
In the days of Adam and Eve?
In the days of Adam and Eve, the person said, in the days of Adam and Eve, creation was meant to eat from the ground and the trees. How do you respond?
And I have been a preacher for a couple of years, which is something most people don't know. And that's why I always like to tell people it's better to leave religion out of nutrition, because you go into that area and it's going to cause some conflict, because I could simply say, what evidence do we have of that? right? If I ask that question, what evidence do we have of that? I could also show you in the book of Genesis, where after they came out of the ark and God told them to eat the animals,
Yes.
to kill and eat. It also have in the book of Acts, I believe it's Acts chapter 12, where Peter saw in the vision where he was on top of the house, and in the vision, God told him that all animals are clean and are clean to eat. So if we want to go and hold on and jump and pull out one part, I went to school and studied the Bible as well. So I am no novice to that area also.
And I think
Right.
it's important. I think it's important to mention that, you know, religion, race, ethnicity, your beliefs has nothing to do with a diagnosis of an autoimmune disease.
Correct.
Whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're brown like myself, it doesn't matter. Disease can affect
anybody, regardless of the
regardless of-
ethnicity, religion,
exactly.
or political affiliation, right?
That's right, yes.
It goes across the board. So I was trying not to go along that lines because when I tell you, I know how it could go because people usually turn to that because I am on Breaking Dawn on morning. I remember Stefan messaged me and told me that somebody tell him, well, the Bible says this. And I sent him those same texts. And he was like, oh, okay. Right? Because I have read the Bible cover to cover.
Yes.
I've read the Bible cover to cover. I've studied Koine Greek. I also had my Greek Hebrew dictionary and stuff. So I'm not somebody that isn't familiar.
Yes.
I am very much familiar. I went to Trinidad School of Preaching and Teaching, where I studied for a couple of years there as well. All right. So I like to dive into something and try to understand it fully. Right. This is why I had to read out the entire Bible first before I joined the church, because I want to know first. I don't like people to just tell me something and I don't know what they're speaking and I just have to take the word for it. I'm not that type of person. Yes. Right. So back to the topic with the herbivore, omnivore, and carnivore. I'm going to share my screen here again. All right. Now, this was, you could even look this up as well, but this was taken from Sean Baker's book, The Carnivore Diet. All right. And this there shows the percentage of digestive tract dedicated to fermentation of plant material. Remember, as mentioned before, that what we observe in nature is nothing is 100% anything. Right? Nothing is 100% anything. So a sheep, 83% of their digestive system, their digestive tract is dedicated to the fermentation of plant material. Because your digestive system is designed mostly to get its nutrients from plants, a sheep is classed as a herbivore. A guinea pig, because 80% of its digestive tract is dedicated to the fermentation of plant material, it is classed as a herbivore. A cattle, because 75% of its digestive tract is dedicated to the fermentation of plant material, it is classed as a herbivore. And then we have the horse, the gorilla. As you notice, the numbers are going down. We come to the true omnivores, the rabbit and the pig. Now chickens come in here too as well, right? With 51%, with the rabbit and the pig at 48%, all right? So they're almost balanced. So this is why they would be classed as omnivores. But where does humans come in? Look at where humans come in. We come in at 17%. 17% of our digestive tract is dedicated to the fermentation of plant material. 17%, but we eating like sheep, right? And now we are wondering why we are sick. Now, when we pull back up this article here, where we see that 99.9% of pesticides we eat are made by plants, now we know why we are always sick. Our system isn't designed for fermenting such large volume of plant material. And if our system isn't designed for fermenting, which is the breaking down or degradation of those plant toxins, what is going to happen when our diet is heavily plants? It means those toxins would enter our system unhindered and wreak havoc. Our digestive system has a 1% different from that of cats. Now, when they say the word cats here, this represents felines, which include animals like lions, tigers, leopards, cheetahs, lynx, pumas, jaguars, those sort of animals. We have a 1% difference. When they say things like dogs, it represents canines, like hyenas, domestic dogs, yes, foxes and wolves. What do those animals eat? But here we are, human beings, 1% difference from that of felines, 3% difference from that of canines, and we are eating like sheep, guinea pigs, and cattle. And then we wonder, why are we so sickly? You all don't think that's interesting? Well, I find it to be very interesting. You go back in history and you see even how the military fed their soldiers, their diets was predominantly meat-based. Why is that? They said it produced less waste and it caused their soldiers to be stronger, and even when they are injured, they recovered faster, right? Way faster. That is why their diets was predominantly meat-based, animal-based, right? But here we are today on a diet that's the parts of the plants that are some of the most toxic parts, that have things like phytic acid in it, and oxalates, and saponins, and goitrogen, right? So I find these things quite interesting. Some of those things that I mentioned there, like phytic acids and stuff, if you all research that, you would see the damage caused by it, right? These are things that are designed by the body to prevent your body from absorbing nutrients. Something as simple as goitrogen. Many people suffer from thyroid issues. There's a compound called goitrogen found in green leafy vegetables and those sorts of plants that prevents your thyroid gland from absorbing iodine, right? And we are none the wiser. We are none the wiser, right? So I have just a few more minutes. So I guess I could take a couple more questions. There's a lot more information. I mean, the information goes on and on and on and on. It have a lot more information on other things that are essential to your health. And I haven't even touched on one of the most important one, but that could be left for another time.
Another time, yes.
Yeah, or for those that want to contact me to get more information, to sign up for a consultation of one of the programs that I have available, especially with regards to salt, right? So any questions thus far?
Chetwayo, you were actually encouraging that we use pink Himalaya salt, and when you're consuming water, to add the salt to the water because it is so beneficial. Can you just talk a little bit, like 1 minute or two, if you can expound on that? Even that in itself, if persons cut off all oils and maybe start drinking salt, is that what you were saying?
Utilizing some salt. So what I'll do, I'll just share my screen a little bit, because like I said, I don't want to just say things myself and then you know, everybody would doubt. So what's this this site here?
So the National Library of Medicine, yes.
National Library of Medicine. All right, this is recognized across the world. PubMed.gov, right? What is the heading? Low salt diet increases insulin resistance in healthy subjects, right? I am pretty sure most of you, if not all of you, have never seen this before, right? Low salt diet increases insulin resistance in healthy subjects. Anybody want to simply tell me what they think that just said? Anybody want to give it a guess? What does that statement there, that heading means? What does it mean to you? Anybody?
Diabetes.
All right, so what it's basically saying that a lack of salt
can cause diabetes.
Can cause diabetes.
Can cause you to become pre-diabetic or full-blown diabetes.
Full-blown diabetes, correct. Correct.
And I might add that a lot of patients actually struggle with pre-diabetic symptoms because of steroid use. I, for one, became pre-diabetic, and then I became full-blown diabetic when I started doing the steroid injections in my hips and my shoulders and all that sort of thing, you know? So So are you saying that salt would get rid of diabetes? Is that, I don't want to misquote you.
Well, I don't want to say salt would get rid of diabetes, but you can't end up diabetic if you have enough salt in your system. If you have low salt levels, then you can end up diabetic, for sure, right? And of course, we need to also watch the consumption of sugar. But many people are saved. So when I say saved, many people health issues are less because of their higher consumption of salt. And people who diets are off and their salt is low, they are quicker to end up with adverse reaction and health issues. Now, people who diets are off and their salt is high, they still have they would still end up with health issues, but it's a little more delayed, right? Now, just go and read this first line, because I know this first line could confuse people. It says low salt diet activates the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone, and sympathetic nervous system, both of which can increase insulin resistance, right? So this part here is a very interesting thing. I wouldn't go into it in too much detail, but this here, the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system, is a hormonal system in the body that activates when your salt levels drop too low. Mind you, the recommendation for salt today, right? This system activates way before you even reach that level. So the recommendation for salt today is that is no more than 1,500 milligrams of salt, ideally half a teaspoon of salt. This system activates in an average sized person, right, who salt consumption drops below 1.5 teaspoons of salt. But the recommendations today, they're telling you don't consume more than half a teaspoon of salt. But this system, emergency system in the body, that operates through the kidneys, that affects your water levels, and the renin angiotensin system affects vascular contraction, which means when this is released, it increases blood pressure, right? This activates in the average 150-pound person if they drop below 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So why is the recommendation for salt less than half a teaspoon? And then it have the sympathetic nervous system activates when your salt level drops too low, which is your fight or flight mechanism. That is like if you go out in the woods and a bear come out behind you, that fight or flight mechanism to get you out of danger, this is what would on a regular, continuous basis when your salt level is too low. And too low is way beyond the recommendations for salt today. Way beyond. All right. So the average Japanese consumes, well, the recommendation for salt here is no more than 1,500 milligrams, right? Well, but that's what it says ideal. But the average Japanese, the Japanese is the first world country that has the lowest level of hypertension and obesity. And their salt consumption is 15,000 milligrams on average, which is 10 times above that of what is recommended here in the West. So we are doing something terribly off. Terribly, terribly off.
There is a question. Is there a specific type of salt? I know we talked about pink Himalayan salt. Not everybody might be able to afford that. Can regular what they call pot salt work?
Table salt, okay, salt in nature has 94 minerals, right? 94 minerals. Himalayan pink salt has 84. Celtic sea salt has 86. Normal table salt has 2. They bleached it. So because they bleached it, normal table salt isn't balanced. So you get too much sodium without enough potassium and magnesium and all the other trace elements to balance it off. So table salt, it's better to spend the extra, well, it'll be like extra $20 or more, right? So better to spend that extra money and save yourself the headache of getting a whole set of health issues, because also A lot of salts have different compounds, well, things they add to it, like anti-caking agents, in order to prevent it from clumping together and sticking up, so it would be easily shake out of the salt shaker. Some of those anti-caking agents are simple things like sand. They add sand to it, right? But keep in mind, when you heat sand, it forms glass. So some people are consuming salt with a little bit of crushed glass. So imagine you have powdered glass passing through your system and passing through your arteries, and that powdered glass is going to scratch the walls of your arteries, and then your body, because the artery walls got damaged, your body is going to send cholesterol to try to do repairs, but just keep getting in the same table salt. Yeah. So while it's trying to do repairs, it's more damage on top of damage, so the body keeps sending more cholesterol to try to do repairs, and then the cholesterol starts to build up in the arteries, and then we form atherosclerosis, and then boom, stroke and heart attack.
Yes.
Right? So it's a domino effect. It's a domino effect, right? So that's what I try to do with my business, Chetwayo's Fitness Enterprise. I try to educate people. There's a saying, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but you teach a man 2 fish, you feed him for a lifetime. That's what I try to do. I try to teach people how to fish. I try to get people to understand nutrition, not just tell them, eat this, eat that, eat it at this time, at that time, right? I don't like that, because you still haven't understood why you have to consume it. Right? When you know why you're consuming something, you could consume it now with a level of confidence, right? And it is less likely for you to waver from it, because you now understand the benefits of consuming this or that, or why not to consume this or that, because you now understand it. All right. So,
I think, I'm sorry, I think an important point to raise here is, and I am guilty because the first time I came to your class after, what did I ask you? I said, Chetwayo, do you have a list? What should I eat? What should I stay away from? And I think a lot of us are guilty of the quick fix. We want the quick fix because we want instant pain relief. We want instant relief in itself, because it's very difficult living with chronic pain. Diane Phillip from Tobago talked about she can't even take a shower, can't even do the simplest thing. I have had days where, and I'm sure many patients can talk about their days when you can't even, if you're living in an upstairs or downstairs, you can't even go down the flight of stairs. You can't even, hold a cup to drink water. Sometimes you can't do those simple things, bring a brush to your hand to move it up, and I think out of this whole session set, I think we want to, and when I say we, because I know you have pledged your partnership and willingness to host sessions like this at no charge for us to just raise the awareness, get people to understand the importance of really being mindful of what we are feeding and fueling our bodies, and I really want patients to grab you, certainly not by your beard, but to hold on to the wealth of knowledge that you're sharing to potentially change our life in a way that the quality of life gets better. That's my hope. Every time I step into that pool, I put in the most I can do, because I want to see the results. It has been an awful year not being able to even sit on a toilet. I'm being so honest. It has been a struggle just to even sit on a toilet because of the issues I've been having with my pain and my hip. It's been a real struggle. And to hear, Ms. Johnson talk about her daughter is only, I think it's 15. If you're still on, I just want you to make contact with Chetwayo, and let's see how, with proper nutrition and sound advice, and maybe we can try to facilitate, maybe we can try to see if we can probably approach a company to sponsor at least, maybe let's try to aim for at least 5 patients to start the aqua aerobics. at DB, and this is where I want to come in and really stress, patients who can afford right now to make that sacrifice and invest in your health, to start the aqua aerobics. It is the aqua exercise. It's being done in DB. I think it's the name of the park is it Fun Splash?
Yes, Fun Splash Water Park.
In DB, right? And it's at 6 o'clock. So, it's at a time where we are not going to be in the sun. We are not going to be exposed to the sunlight. We're not going to be exposed to having issues with the reaction with the sun, because a lot of lupus patients, including myself, being out in the sun, we break out in rashes, we have problems with the sunlight. So the evening class is better tailored for us who have issues being out in the sun. I think I really want to press the need, for us to really, let us try this. For those of you who can, try it for a month, try it for 2 months, try it for 3 months. It's not a quick fix. If you're looking for a quick fix, and I'm doing this to myself, if you're looking for a quick fix, Rihanna, there is no such thing as a quick fix. And so for you,
the quickest fix is when you put the effort to it, when you put the effort, that's the quickest fix, because the results I have seen in myself and even in many of my clients, it's quicker than they would have gotten on their own or even elsewhere. I've even seen where it was with regards to results that even trainers in the gym got with their clients in comparison with mine. Mine was 10 times faster.
Yes.
Right. And yes, I train people without using any weights. I don't lift weights. I haven't lifted weights in years. Right. So using body weight exercises and proper nutrition, the results was faster. So sometimes trying to get the shortcut, it end up making the route longer. Right. It was only short in theory, but not in reality.
Yes. And for those who are not based in South, and you are in the Port of Spain environs, Chetwayo recently started classes down in Chagaramas on a Saturday and a Sunday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, right?
5 Islands.
Yeah. 5 Islands Water Park, yes. And of course, if you want the information, feel free to reach out to him directly. The number is 761-1952. Again, 761-1952. I'm really hoping I'm going to be doing the classes. I would love to have a fellow patient join me, and let us do this together. Let us take back our health. Let us try to reclaim back our health. I mean, it's not easy, and I think a lot of patients can relate. It's the struggle. I have one of our lupus ambassadors online yesterday. I was seeing some videos of her. She actually does training on land. She is getting ready for a competition, lifting weights. I'm talking about bench press. My goodness, she's really a warrior. So, if she can do it, and she's had some really bad days, and if she can do that, I think I draw inspiration from her commitment to want to stay active despite. And I think that's the point. We need to keep active in spite of how we feel. So that's just my 2 cents. Listra, you can reach out to Chetwayo. He also does, you do health and coaching as well apart from
nutritional coaching, health coaching, personal, basically everything dealing with health. Right?
It's very affordable. And when we say affordable, we're not talking about $1,000 a month. We're not talking about $500 a month. We're talking about just $200 a month for that one-on-one in a group setting, of course, to learn and to just empower yourself through nutrition. In terms of how you can, recover. And we're not saying that it's going to be I cannot make that claim as president of the Voice of Lupus Foundation. I cannot make that claim that you're going to be healed, but I do believe that you will have a positive turnaround in your health, and of course, for those who would like to sign up for the aquatic exercise. Said I believe it's $500 a month at Debe, you know, and for the 5 islands. Can you tell
It's
me?
70 a session.
$70, right?
Yeah.
Do you do individual sessions in Debe? Like, do you charge a separate instead of
no, not one-on-one, not one-on-one sessions.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's the water park pool, so it's only based on the times that they allow me to.
They allow you
use the
to
facility. Yeah.
right.
So
But
we
if
have time for the
someone
group
if
classes.
someone doesn't want to do a month and they want to do like they want to come and
Per session?
Per
Oh,
session.
you mean like per session rate? Yeah, it's
Yes.
$60 per session.
right. So if you want to come and try it and see, you know, maybe you might be skeptical and say, nah, I don't think this is for me, but you want to still because you're fast like me. Right? Come down to the Fun Splash. It's Monday,
Wednesdays and Fridays.
Friday. So the
morning
class,
and evening classes, 9 a.m. and 6 p.m.
So I'm pushing the class for the evening because we are in the we're not dealing with the sun. We're not dealing with the issues of the sun. Okay. So again, 761-1952. So Seth, your closing remarks. We've taken enough of your time.
All right. So I wanted to help people to understand that your health, because this is my motto, your health is your wealth. And there is no wealth
without your health.
Right? You see people like even Steve Jobs, right? Rich guy, billionaire, but he died from pancreatic cancer, which and probably in the future I'll tell you all how to reverse pancreatic cancer, but he died from something that I know how he could have dealt with if there were certain changes that he had made to his nutrition, because he did not have the wealth of knowledge needed to make the necessary change. So don't be afraid to research. You have to put that effort towards. Remember, you're investing in yourself. You're investing in your health. It's not just going to benefit me, it's going to benefit you, all right? You can't put a price on quality of life, right? You just can't put a price on that. So take the time, do the research, right? Do it, right? Make that investment in yourself. Because at the end of the day, right, you could have all the possessions in this world and you could miss the opportunity of even enjoying them and even enjoying things like time spent with family because of your health. How much people would want to kick a little ball with the grandchildren, but they can't because of all the pain, right? Because of all the pain and all the ailments, right? And I'm saying you could help make changes in your life, that you could spend more quality time with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, right? If you invest in yourself, right? So your health is your wealth, and there's no wealth without health. Thanks.
Hello.
Hello.
I believe we have a question.
This is Dan from Tobago. In Tobago here, we suffer a lot because we had to be every time running to Trinidad. We don't have people come here to do anything for us. Most people who are sick, always have to be running. And I tell you personally, I am not running to Trinidad for anything because that is too much money for you to be running up and down, because there's nothing base here for us to do or for anybody to come to teach us or to let us know certain things. Everything is down there, so it's easier for the people to have access down there to go to these sessions, pay our $200. When here we have to pay $3 something.
Yes.
And it is really hard.
Diane, I echo your sentiments. Unfortunately, there is nothing that the organization can do at this time because we were working in Tobago for years. Through Penny Savers, as I told you, we did not even, we weren't able to get an office, but the owner of Penny Savers allowed us for over 7 years to go to their supermarket every month for 7 years, to have a place where patients could come to the supermarket and get information. We were providing them with food support, medical support, that sort of thing. But I am unable to do it any longer, because of my health challenges. So maybe in the future, Chetwayo might be able to do something in Tobago, but for now, unfortunately, all our classes are just strictly in Trinidad. Maybe you can look into you know, there might be someone doing aquatic exercise over in Tobago. I'm not sure. Chetwayo, do you know of anybody?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment, you know. So I know.
But what I can say is the health coaching and nutritional coaching programs that I have, that is done via Zoom.
Zoom.
So that there can give you the knowledge that you need to make dietary changes to improve your health, because at the end of the day, even with exercise, you still need to make those nutritional changes. So that there can help you deal with your ailments, can help you reverse certain conditions, even without the aquatic exercise being available. Because I know, yes, Tobago is usually left out with a lot of things. And that's why I also have the aquatic exercise in South Trinidad, because South Trinidad is usually be left out from a lot of stuff as well. So I know where you're coming from. I understand what you're saying there, but this program, the health part and the nutritional coaching part, that's done online via Zoom. That's how I deal with clients.
Yes. And at this time, before we allow Chetwayo to leave, I just want to remind you that on Wednesday from 6 o'clock in the evening, we will be having rheumatologist Dr. Keisha Davis-King. She is joining us for our webinar discussing lupus and other autoimmune diseases. So I just wanted to remind those who are locked on to join us this Wednesday, I believe it's the 15th, to join us right here on Zoom for Dr. Keisha Davis-King. I would suggest that you send in your questions. We may not be able to facilitate everyone for questions in terms of an interactive session. However, I will be given the opportunity to read your questions. So please send your questions via WhatsApp or even on our support group. This Wednesday, I will send out the promo by tomorrow. So just remember, Dr. Keisha Davis-King, she's head of the rheumatology clinic in Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex. She's joining us this Wednesday from 6 p.m. right here on Zoom. All right, so if you do not have any questions, please say, let's say our thank yous to Chetwayo, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Okay, excellent. Right, thanks for having me.
Yes,
it was my pleasure.
Yes. Okay, guys, any questions before we end off things? Shashia, somebody has their hands up. Please go ahead, unmute your mic. Yes, Joanna.
Hi. I just wanted, not really a question, but I just wanted to say to Mr. Chetwayo, you know, I really appreciate the knowledge. Because what you were saying, you know, because the lupus thing always had me confused, you know, it have to be some reason why my body is basically attacking itself. And, you know, nobody can tell you, well, why? They just give you medication. Side any medication making you worse, it affecting you in different areas. So the knowledge that I got today, you know, it just had me thinking, it had me in awe, because most of the things I was like, what? Never heard those things before, but it makes sense. You know, when you talk about the animals with the plants and the defense mechanism, that makes sense, because, you know, everyone else has this defense mechanism. So it's obvious that the plants are going to have that as well. And, you know, partaking of that, you know, with that, you know, how the body it would affect the body. So that makes sense to me. And, you know, that's how people, you know, I don't want to talk about the Bible, but, you know, when they say, you know, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Yeah. So knowledge to me is very important. Yes, it's very important. Yes. Because without the knowledge, we don't know how to help ourselves. So I just want to say, I appreciate the knowledge very much. And I'm looking forward to more and to help having a better and a healthier life.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yes, I welcome that those remarks, because I remember when I first heard what you had brought to the table in terms of the information, I was really taken back, because my journey with lupus has been trying so many different things, from intermittent fasting, from juicing, from smoothies, to doing alternative, trying so many things, and it has not done what I thought it would, you know. So there is that ray of hope, and I would like to encourage persons to, again, be a part of this. All right. So Chetwayo, thank you so much again. Cannot thank you enough for taking your Sunday afternoon. I think this is your only day off, right?
Partially, yeah.
Partially, because you had class.
I don't really have any days off. But I didn't have class this morning. I didn't have class. I canceled class this morning.
You canceled class. Okay. Was that because of us?
No. That's where it went there and all this stuff. So and then I was thinking too, I need to get a day for myself as well. So I'm just having it on the Saturdays only. Right.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be in touch. And guys, again, thank you for your time. And we wish everyone a wonderful, wonderful good night. Bye for now.
Take care.
Have a good night, Seth.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Shashia, warrior. that muscle growing, Gil, that muscle growing. That Chetwayo, that is Shashia, the one who's building all these muscles with.
Okay, nice. Take care.
All right, take care. Galaxy A20. Who is Galaxy A20?
Sandrina.
Hi, Sandrina.
Nice program.
Okay, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope your daughter, you guys reach out to Chetwayo and, be a part of at least the nutritional aspect. If you can't do the exercise on the weekdays or down at the 5 Island Park, nutrition.
I don't know where that. I don't know where that is.
Where? 5 Islands? That's down Chaguaramas.
Yes.
Chaguaramas. You guys are based in Diego Martin, right?
Yes.
Right. So yeah, reach out to him. It's Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh, Saturdays and Sundays. And he said what time? I didn't hear the time.
I forgot, I believe it's in the morning period.
Oh, well, I think I have his number.
You have his number. Yes. You reach out to him. I believe it's at 9 or 10, if I'm not mistaken. Saturdays and Sundays. I think that would be very, very beneficial for the, the pains and stuff,
Yes.
Okay.
And he says $200 a month.
Not for the aqua aerobics. It's for, the $200 a month is the nutritional coaching that takes place. And it's $70 a session for the aquatic exercise.
$70 a session.
$70 a session, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I will liaise with him and see
do.
how best we can.
Yes, please do.
And the aquatic exercise is in water.
It is in water. That's right. It's in the pool.
Yes.
It's very helpful. Very helpful. Because I'm a pretty heavy person, and I've been doing it for the past couple of days, and it's very low impact. Very, very, very beneficial. Very, very beneficial. Low impact on the joints.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Did you get a chance to talk to her?
No, I told you I would give your daughter a call next week, in the week coming here.
Next week.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I
Okay.
usually don't do any office work over the weekends. It's only to facilitate webinars. I do this, So
all right.
During office
hours.
hours.
I find it's very informative.
And I'm glad. All right.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, you take good care of yourself. All right.